In the morning, two Ukrainians arrive at the island's main airport. They're ordinary guys with money, but, as it turns out later, they don't have entirely ordinary backgrounds. A few days later, one of them will be found dead, the other will disappear. And the most intriguing part isn't the murder itself, but why these men were being hunted. Today you'll find out what these two actually did, who was behind their abduction, and how a single frame can send you to the afterlife. This is Jimbaran, a popular resort area in southern Bali. Cafes, beaches, and locals riding motorcycles. That evening, Igor, Komarov, and a friend decided to rent scooters as well. Nothing for shadow trouble. They were riding along the promenade, enjoying the view of the sea. But there was one thing they didn't know. Someone was already waiting for them. Suddenly, two black cars with no license plates appeared behind them and blocked the road. Within seconds, Igor was pinned face down on the ground, tied up, had a bag put over his head, and was forced into a car. The kidnappers acted in an organized manner. No one even had time to realize that this wasn't an accident. His friend miraculously managed to escape. Igor is taken to another area, presumably Tabanan. This is no longer a tourist area, but a more secluded region. It's easier to hide there, there's less attention and almost no random witnesses. Komarov ends up at a villa and is left alone with the kidnappers. For him, a living hell begins. Show footage of him. But the kidnappers didn't wait for the ransom. In the morning, a local resident goes out for a jog. Not far from the beach, he finds body parts, a head, limbs, and fragments of the torso. Later, forensic analysis confirms that these are the remains of Igor Komarov. The body was found about 30 kilometers from the kidnapping site. This means it had been transported, and not just once. And this raises another question. Why was the body dismembered? Why was he tortured? What did this man do to deserve such brutal treatment? And the answer to this question might surprise you. The fact is that behind the mask of an ordinary tourist was none other than the manager of Ukraine's largest call centers. Here's a video where he talks about what he does. And if you think that organizations like this are made up of a handful of enthusiasts, you couldn't be more wrong. Call centers have long been organized crime groups, an entire business built by the local mafia, with operators, accountants, and offices that the police deliberately turn a blind eye to. Igor Komarov was the son of Sergei Komarov, better known in the criminal underworld as Komar. He kept a low profile, which is why there is almost no information about him. But what we know for sure is that, starting in the late 90s, he was considered one of the most brutal and influential crime bosses in the Donetsk region, heading his own organized crime group. He had a long trail of showdowns, disappearances, and the elimination of competitors behind him. But while he used to rely on racketeering, control over markets, gas stations, and drug trafficking, over time, Komar came to realize a simple truth. Digital crime is more profitable. The only problem was protection. He needed connections with the police, bribes, and security for his offices. And his son, Ermak Petrovsky, was the very same friend of Igor's who managed to escape during the attack. Criminal families always have plenty of enemies, but they multiply when you're swindling thousands of people every day. There will inevitably come a moment when you cross the wrong person. All that's left is for them to track you down. This is blogger Eva Mishalova, Igor Komarov's girlfriend, who had also come on vacation. Igor and Ermak had known the safety rules since childhood. No social media, only cash, verified SIM cards, and private chat rooms. But Eva made a mistake that ultimately cost Igor everything. In January, she posted a story saying she was flying to Indonesia, and 2 weeks later, her boyfriend started appearing in the background. Geolocation, names of places and streets, videos showing their routes. There's no way to maintain secrecy when you're rolling out the red carpet for your enemies yourself. However, based on this information, the kidnappers only learned Komarov's approximate location. They needed a more solid lead. Mishalova posted a video of herself riding with her boyfriend through the streets at night. The bike's license plate number appeared in the frame for a split second. It was a small detail, but it turned out to be enough for the kidnappers. The license plate number led them to a local bike-sharing company. When Komarov registered the bike, he foolishly provided his passport information and actual address. He thought he was safe. He was wrong. For a bribe of a few hundred, his personal information ended up in the hands of unknown individuals. All that was left was to prepare the attack. But geolocation and physical traces are far from the only things that can give you away. Today, they can even track you down based on what your device looks like. Screen resolution, fonts, operating system, graphics card, all of this is compiled into a digital fingerprint. And if you log in from the same device to the systems, you remain the same person even if you change your IP address. But one question remains unanswered. Who is behind the kidnapping? And what did they really want from Komarov? The simplest explanation is revenge. Igor ran call centers. They called, scammed people, and siphoned off their money. A standard scam. Only this time, they didn't run into a retired grandmother, but people who were much more serious. But there's one major inconsistency with this theory. The kidnappers operated far too professionally. Military-style training during the abduction, multiple vehicles, and precise knowledge of the routes. They don't look like amateurs. Rather, they look like people who aren't new to planning such operations. The Knights. Ukraine's most influential and brutal organized crime group. Its leader is Igor Komarov, nicknamed Jabba. It is he and his inner circle who control half of Ukraine's call center business, and they're given protection by people from Sergei Lysak's military administration. That's why a portion of the profits goes up the chain, and the business is allowed to operate even during the war. Igor Komarov and Ermak Petrovsky were part of this system for a long time. They paid a cut to the nines, but at some point decided to play by their own rules. According to one account, Komarov and Petrovsky began hiding their actual profits. They set up several grey call centers that operated parallel to the main network and did not share their profits. The sums involved ran into millions of dollars, which Komarov mentioned in the video. For Jabba and his people, this was no longer just a betrayal, it was an insult. That's why the kidnapping in Bali wasn't a random showdown, but a public execution. The nines wanted to send a message to the entire criminal underworld of the Dnipro. If you decide to go against the system, they'll find you even on the other side of the world, even if you're the son of a crime boss. At this time, the Bali police are continuing their investigation. Interpol has issued an international arrest warrant for 5 people: Denis Galushko, Vladislav Akanov, Nikolai Petrik Vasily Nemish, and Roman Melnik. Their current whereabouts are unknown, but there is another suspect. A certain citizen rented a Toyota Avanza, which was used in the kidnapping. He was caught by chance. A fake Belgian passport was found on him as he was trying to cross over to a neighboring island. Citizen C claims he didn't know the true purpose of the rental. He allegedly was just following others' instructions and was paid for it. That's all there is to it. Those who actually ordered the murder remain untouchable. Ermak Petrovsky was the only one who saw everything with his own eyes, the man who was supposed to be the key witness, but he too disappeared. And this is no coincidence, because in stories like this, witnesses aren't left alive, they let him disappear. According to one version, Petrovsky Jr. cooperated with the police to secure protection. According to another, he went into hiding to return to Dnipro and continue his attacks on Russia. We don't know the whole truth, but one thing is clear: as long as the call centers bring in money, and as long as the government covers for them, they will continue to operate. The Komarov case isn't unique, it's just that this time everything came to light, with a body, with news reports, and with an investigation. But how many such cases end differently, without a trace? We don't know. This was the Grey Cardinal speaking. Stay vigilant.